Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Sorry for my absence. I just haven't gotten any new sets. I was waiting for the new Lego Star Wars sets to release for August. So that's why it's been a minute since I've put a video on here. But thank you for coming back. Today we're going to be taking a look at set 75312, which is Boba Fett's Slave One. I'm not going to call it his Starship because it's his Slave One and it has been for over 40 years. Anyway, it's ages 9+ and has 593 pieces. I found it at Costco for $40, but I think it retails for about $50. And this is the kind of controversial ship, partly for the name, partly for the size, kind of a little bit of everything. It does come with 2 minifigures though, and is about the same size as the 2018 Betrayal at Cloud City Slave One, which I do actually have, and I can show you in this video, so we can do a comparison. But before we get on to the actual ship, I do want to show you the minifigures because it comes with 2 pretty neat ones. First up, we have Din Djarin, or the Mandalorian, and he has his Beskar staff, a small gun, and his Beskar armor with the Mudhorn signet on his shoulder, which looks pretty good. He also does have the rest of his neat silver armor, and you can see his little wrist rocket launcher there. I feel like the printing on this helmet's a little weird. I feel like the visor is slightly low on the helmet and it makes it look a little bit odd. Underneath, you just have a black head, which is disappointing that they still haven't made a Din Djarin head, but Lego is always behind with putting the correct heads underneath helmets, so it's also not really surprising. So there's him. He does have some printing on the back as well and a small little cape. Pretty good if you don't have this figure, but he has now come out in like a $25 set or so, so he's pretty easy to come by. I prefer the darker colored helmet that came with the pre-Beskar armor Mandalorian, but this one's just a little bit too light for me. But that is the Mandalorian. And then we have Boba Fett here, and he is actually new. If you can't tell, he's wearing his kind of like black underneath armor, and he's been updated. There are some flaws with it, but I do like that they did try and made a new Boba Fett. I'm pretty happy about that. Nice detailing on the arms. It's really nice to get arm printing in a set that's only $40. Seems to be more commonplace for Lego than it was in the past, but overall I think that the armor on the body and the legs looks really, really good. I mean, we've got some printing all the way to the toes, which is really nice. And then he has his Boba Fett kind of unique gun there. Where we go wrong is the helmet is correct without having any scratches because it's been repainted, but it is totally the wrong color. And that really, really bothers me and a lot of other people, as well as the jetpack. It's still the same light sand green color of the other Boba Fetts that you've gotten before, just a little bit changed. So that's really inaccurate in my opinion. Underneath the helmet though, I think looks awesome. We have a new face sculpt for Boba Fett, and he is bald, so you could technically display him without the helmet. I think he looks super good. I love those scars. Really, really nice. So that was one of the main reasons I wanted to pick up this Slave One, was for this new Boba Fett, even though he's not completely accurate, which is a little bit frustrating because they know better. But those are the minifigures, so let's move on to the set itself. Okay, and as you can tell, this Slave One is relatively small. It's been a simplified version for a much more affordable price than we've seen Slave Ones in the past. I think overall, though, it does really fit the bill and looks really, really good still, and it's a nice display piece. I personally do like the move towards smaller ships just because I only have so much room, and, you know, I like the smaller ships. They're a little bit easier to handle, and they're more affordable as well. So there's some pros and cons, obviously, for you. There are a couple of stickers on this set. The whole center part of the Slave One here is all stickers. This is a solid green piece. And then there's some stickers on the edges here. We have some pivoting cannons here at the bottom, some stud shooters that stick out pretty sorely, and they're red right there. The wings do rotate, which is nice. They are relatively anemic, though, in my opinion. So there's that. I have it setting on, this is a little service ladder, maintenance ladder that doubles as a stand, which I really like the idea for. And you can put the ladder down as well, and you can put a minifigure right here. It can display the Slave One really well, and so I do appreciate that stand. It's really unique and weird, and we haven't gotten it before, but I am not mad. Moving on to the actual Slave One, my biggest problem with the ship comes around the cockpit area. You can see those really large gaps on the edges. I'm not sure why they have done that. I know they can sculpt better in terms of Lego, because I think that the Cloud City 2018 mini Slave 1 is better in that area. It's not a huge problem, it's just a little weird. It just kind of ruins the feel a little bit because, I mean, obviously you have these large holes. The cockpit itself is quite small. You can basically fit Boba Fett in right here on the edge, and he literally just barely fits in. There is no room for air, and also if you don't get his rangefinder down correctly, it falls off. My struggle that I have had, as you can tell that just happened, is this cockpit doesn't want to close well. It wants to go sideways and get hooked on the edge. So you have to like wiggle it, and it's kind of stupid. It doesn't go down super well. But there is Boba Fett in there, and he just barely fits. It almost doesn't look super great with him in it, to be honest. And now I gotta find his little rangefinder here. So take that with a grain of salt. Other than that, again, I think that the stickering is pretty good just on the edges and in the center here, and then the small wings, but they do rotate, which is nice. The cannons do rotate as well. On the inside here, this actually lifts up, which is a newer feature for something so small. And they did include a carbonized Gamorrean guard, which I thought was really, really awesome. Another draw for me for this set. Really clean sticker piece there, in my opinion. And I really like that it slides in and it holds well. It's a little bit narrow, but that's okay. And it fits where it's supposed to, so I really do like that. And then there's kind of the underside there. Another feature that you get, so on the back you can see the engines. This plate is what gets lifted up on that little ladder display. And then in the back here, there is a handle. Personally, this set isn't really big enough to need a handle. I love when they included it in the 20th anniversary Lego set because it was so big, the Slave 1, but this little handle isn't really necessary. You can absolutely carry it that way. It's a little awkward, but it's so small that you holding it isn't gonna break apart the ship. It's sturdy enough that that's not a problem. You did obviously forego a lot of the Technic build that makes this set strong, just because of the scale. So I guess maybe that's why they put a handle in there. It's nice for role play, but you really can handle it by the back or the front like this, and so it's not a huge deal. And I did want to quickly compare it to the other version, the 2018 version, if people are interested. There it is. You can tell there are some differences, obviously. This one does seem like it's more realistic. I do like the rounder look on this one though, but there's a lot less stickers. I think there's just one in the center. The cockpit is a different color. It's clear here, which kind of ruins the aesthetic, and the wings are much more anemic. So definitely something, you know, comparative. This underside doesn't lift up, and you have to store the carbonite in the back here. So there are definitely some pros and cons, but I think that this one that they've made, it's not obviously an exact replica. They took the scale and built upon it and made it more worth it, in my opinion, and made it more accurate. So I really do like the improvement on it, but in terms of like literal scale, they're almost identical, as you can see. The 2018 one I think is still just a little bit smaller, but if you have a trail on Cloud City and you'd like to put a more accurate Slave 1 in there, you can just trade it out, honestly. I'm sure it'll fit on the pad. So anyways, I think still it's a pretty good set for $40. I personally can't complain. I think it's really worth it for piece count and everything. And you get 2 minifigures, and the Boba Fett's brand new, even though he isn't accurate. But you know, you win some, you lose some. You can't have it all with Lego, and we know that. So I think overall it's still a really good set, and it's very cool. And I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and stay tuned for more. I have more of the new wave coming at you. So till next time, guys. Bye.